Hello, Internet. This is Daniel from Driving and Dragons, and I'm just going to give you a quick Game Master short. This time talking about playing theater of the mind and keeping things moving smoothly at your table. Talk to you on the other side. So, I'm pretty much exclusively what we call a theater of the mind game master. I don't do miniatures very much. In the rare event that I absolutely have to have miniatures to say keep a combat straight, I'm going to throw out some pennies and quarters on the table or some dice that nobody's using, and to kind of give people an idea. I want most of it painted in their head, because at the end of the day, there's no mini that will ever be painted as well as the picture in your head that you have of your character. So today's tip is for my fellow game masters who are not miniatures game masters, and that is your descriptions. Be careful not to over-describe when you're playing theater of the mind. Don't be overly precise. Now, you got to play a fine line here. It's very important that you don't leave out anything important. If an item is important, I'm not talking about something you have to search and find, but if an item is important, say, for instance, there's a painting on the wall that the players need to do something with, you need to make sure that that painting is in your description. But you don't need to be overly precise about your descriptions when it comes to theater of the mind. If you give them too many elements, their brain gets all their resources, their mental resources get tied up in trying to paint the picture in their head, rather than just giving them enough to let their imagination fill in the blanks. The way I do this is that I believe in what I call ambiance words or ambiance phrases. I am going to use descriptors that harken back to other things. So, for instance, I'm a big believer, like if I'm going to do gothic horror, or if I'm playing Ravenloft, or I'm doing Call of Cthulhu, I got like an old haunted house I'm going to work out. I'm going to talk about things like the mist coming in from outside and swirling with the ancient dust and cobwebs from the floor. And I'm going to mention the candelabra the candelabra that's lit with candles that should have burned out centuries ago, that's totally separate from the rest of the room. But I'm not going to go into intricate details about the workmanship of the candelabra, and I'm certainly not going to talk about the precise measurements of the room. The precise measurements, theater of the mind should not have, in my opinion, should not have precise measurements. Don't give them, unless they are absolutely critical to something. Do not give precise measurements in theater of the mind. Well, this spell has a 30-foot radius. How do I know if the bad guy's in it? Well, your wizard's not in there with a tape measure, measuring from the center of where he wants to put it to the bad guy. Okay? And your best guess, yeah, you got room to hit everybody in this room with your fireball. But you need to be more, theater of the mind gets broken apart by excessive detail. So just be careful with it. And don't get over the top with your flourishes and your details when you're playing theater.